Good morning, Lighthouse family, and everybody that may be tuning in with us for this devotion today. I just want to say good morning to you, or a hello from whatever time that you may be watching this at. I hope you're all staying safe, and I hope you're staying safe during this time with everybody that is around you, your family, and your neighbors. I just want to share a quick word with you this morning from the book of Mark, chapter 5, and this is when Jesus is walking through this market, and a synagogue leader named Jairus comes up to him as Jesus is walking with his disciples in this packed place, and comes up to him and says, "Jesus, my little girl isn't well. May you please come and pray for her so that she may live and she doesn't die." So Jesus says yes, and Jesus is walking with him in this market. But then there's a lady in the corner who had an issue of blood. It means that she had a constant bleeding, and she had had this issue for 12 years. And she hears that Jesus is walking and is coming on the streets, and this is what happens. Now a woman suffering from bleeding for 12 years had endured much under many doctors. She had spent everything she had and was not helped at all. On the contrary, she became worse. Having heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his clothing. For she said, "If I just touch his clothes, I'll be made well." Instantly, her flow of blood ceased, and she sensed in her body that she was healed of her affliction. At once, Jesus realized in himself that power had gone out of him. He turned around in the crowd and said, "Who touched my clothes?" His disciples said to him, "You see the crowd pressing against you, and yet you say, 'Who touched me?'" But he was looking around to see who had done this. The woman, with fear and trembling, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And this is what he says next. He says, "Daughter." He says to her, "Daughter, your faith has saved you. Go in peace and be healed from your affliction." This lady has suffered from the issue of blood for 12 years. And during the times it was wasn't even considered, it was a law, and it was seen as unclean and dirty to have this condition. And she'd spent all her resources trying to get better. She couldn't speak to people, as she was seen as a social outcast. She couldn't touch anything, hug family members, or even have any friends. This woman was in a position of desperation, and she had struggled with this disease for 12 years, not being able to speak to anybody. She was isolated for 12 years. I know a lot of us know what it is like to be in isolation or quarantine. From the past couple of months, we were locked down, and we're even going into a 4-week lockdown, but this woman was locked down for 12 years, and she was in a position of desperation. I wonder if that's some of us today, where we feel like we're in isolation and we're locked down, maybe because of COVID-19, or maybe we feel like we're in isolation and we're bleeding out. We're in a position of desperation and struggle because of that job that we wanted to get, or maybe we've lost our jobs during this season, or maybe it's anxiety and depression, or some thoughts that may be coming in our minds saying that we aren't good enough. Maybe it's the challenge ahead, or maybe things have been so heavy on our shoulders that we are now, we don't know what to do. We feel like this is the end, and we've been isolated and we are bleeding out. I just want to encourage you that if that is you this morning, that Jesus loves you and he cares about you. When Jesus saw this woman in the market, he wasn't repulsed or disgusted. He didn't see somebody who was unclean and dirty like everybody else in society did. Instead, Jesus calls her daughter. Jesus calls you a son. Jesus calls you a daughter. He cares about you. He knew you before you were even born. He has a plan and a purpose for your life. Jesus responds with love, acceptance, with a warm, kind heart, and he has mercy and grace. He doesn't see somebody who's dirty. He sees somebody who's a son and a daughter, and he has a plan for your life. So I just want to encourage you, whatever season you're going through, that if you reach out to Jesus, Jesus will also reach out to you. He cares about you. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has saved you. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction." May you go in peace today. And may you be healed from whatever I declare these words over your life. May you be healed over anything that you may be going through during this season. If you just touch the hem of his garment, He is always near you. He cares about you. He loves you, and you are known by him. Thank you, and God bless you.